The legal precedent that the case sets is quite extraordinary. And in order to explain why, you have to understand what exactly Julian is being accused of. The United States indicted him under a very draconian piece of legislation which was passed in 1917, 106 years ago, during the First World War. And this so-called Espionage Act has been used against a publisher for the very first time. Now, I often see it reported that Julian is accused of espionage because he is indicted under the Act. But the reality is that the United States has not accused Julian of espionage. It has accused him of journalistic practices, of receiving information from a source, national defense information from a source, of possessing that national defense information and of communicating it, not to a foreign government, but to the public. Effectively, they're saying that communicating this information to the enemy is the public, and there is no question that this information was in the public interest. So the United States used the Espionage Act in order to, for the very first time, indict a publisher for publishing activities, for publishing, receiving, possessing, communicating information to the public. But not only that, Julian is not a US citizen, and he was not in the United States. So this indictment is entirely extraterritorial. The way the Espionage Act has been used in the past has been against government employees. So, for example, the source of these publications, Chelsea Manning, was a US Army intelligence officer, and with all the duties and obligations that carries, in addition to being a US citizen, I'm not justifying her indictment and conviction by any means, but I'm just illustrating how there is a fundamental difference when, first of all, when you indict a publisher as opposed to the source, and when you indict a foreigner who is abroad as opposed to someone within the United States or American citizen, especially under a political statute such as the Espionage Act. And what this precedent sets is actually a global precedent in which not just the United States, but any other country can use the same argument. Well, you see, our secrecy laws, however they're defined, apply extraterritorially. And if, say, a Luxembourgish journalist working in Luxembourg or Belgium publishes something that violates the secrecy laws of some third state, they are then entitled to put them in prison and extradite them and convict them. And this is the Assange precedent. And because Julian is such a high-profile publisher, and because the documents that he published are of the utmost public significance, what it does is create an entirely new political shift, a shift of what is permissible. He's a global figure, and what the United States has done is create a blueprint that can be used and is being used. So just some few examples. The Chinese Foreign Ministry has invoked Julian's case repeatedly. Whenever there are criticisms of their own prosecutions and imprisonments of their journalists, all they do is say, well, what about Assange? And that's where it ends. So this is the new reality, and that's why you have an absolute consensus within the subject experts on press freedom, the Reporters Without Borders, the International Federation of Journalists, of which Julian is a member, and even the Committee to Protect Journalists, which is a very US-focused organization. They are all on the same page in a complete unison here that this case, that not only should Julian be released, but the case has to be dropped because of the very serious precedent that it is setting worldwide. It is actively making journalists everywhere less safe. It is making it easier to put journalists in prison, but precisely because it is such a visible, high-profile, outrageous case concerning the publication of war crimes and the killing of tens of thousands of civilians and so on. So I think maybe I'll stop there. Thank you. Thanks for coming. Thank you, Natalie.